What's going on, it's the RapNerd, and I just got out of seeing a new slasher film brought to us by the folks at Shudder and directed by Eli Craig called A Clown in a Cornfield. Now, this slasher film follows a girl named Quinn and her widowed dad who moved to a Midwestern town to restart their lives. And once they arrive here, they realize that this town is still kind of stuck in the past, and as they continue to learn new things, their mascot named Friendo, who's a clown, comes out and start killing people one by one. Now, as I mentioned, the movie is directed by Eli Craig. He is the man behind Dale and Tucker vs. Evil. So if you've seen that film, you kind of know what to expect with the tone, and it just gives us that, plus being an actual slasher. And I can say that I love this movie. It gave me everything that I wanted, everything that I expected, and a little more with its content. So first of all, this is a slasher film through and true, and that's what I loved about it most. It felt like the classic joints from the early 2000s, where it wasn't concerned with trying to be the most gruesome or gory ever. It just wanted to have some cool kills and offer that same type of atmosphere. So the reason we're here, the clown, let's get into Friendo. I really love what they did with this character. In fact, it caught me by surprise because there aren't many slasher films that I've ever seen that take this route. Off top, I can only think of about 2 films that went the route that this movie goes, and for that, it was a chef's kiss. And I'm not gonna say anything about what that is. I just know that once it hits the halfway mark of this film is when it starts to be different, because the first half is really exactly what you would expect from a slasher. You're with Quinn, who moves into this town. Her and the dad have this cliche conversation about wanting to start over. What I do like is they didn't really harp on the widowy part. You kind of just get that in conversation, but still, it's typical. She goes to school, meets these group of kids, blah, blah, blah. Exactly what you expect from this type of movie. As these story beats keep getting hit, you're like, okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but it's not different. But I'm telling you, halfway mark is when shit just had me like, okay, I don't know where this is going anymore. And I was glued to my seat really trying to figure out this whole thing, because it is a bold move that they make, again, that I've rarely seen do in any slasher film. So Friendo as a character, the design is really cool, and I feel like it still differentiates itself from so many different clown films that we've seen. Doesn't look like Art, doesn't look like Pennywise. Those are really the big 2, but I feel like what this movie has done is create a new possible icon. You know, if this movie does well and they continue to make them, Friendo could be part of the clowns of horror. And this is based off of a book too, so there are many ways that these films can keep on going. I think there are 2 more books, and the guy is also writing more. But with the way that this film ends and just the different reveals it takes, I could definitely see this becoming a franchise, and I'm here for it. I mean, Art the Clown started very small, way smaller than this, and look where it's at now. So I have no doubt in my mind that if this thing has enough word of mouth, makes enough money, that we can get a sequel, which I really do want to see. And as I mentioned, the kills are good enough for what you would expect from a slasher. There's nothing crazy here, like on the Terrifier level, so I'm setting the expectations because I feel like I have to do that when it comes to slashers. But also combine the creativity with intensity that really take things up a notch, especially the way that a lot of the kills get set up. There's a certain item that gets used for the kills, and as soon as you see that, you know what's about to happen. And Friendo's array of weapons are on full display here. He's not just a one and done kind of guy. As you can see with the trailer, he has crossbows, he uses all different types of knives, he uses saws, and more that I will not reveal, but you just gotta look to see. And the other thing that I like about the film is it chose to actually say something, which is something I really haven't seen mentioned in any of the reviews. And not to say like this movie speaks the gospel or, oh, it's exposing human nature or anything like that, but I like the concept that it presents because it does touch on the generational gap here in a very interesting way that makes sense of everything once you get to a certain point. And what I love is the generational gap that it's taking inspiration from is something that you hear in passing all the time from a certain age bracket in regards to the youth. And yes, I'm being extremely vague because I don't want to get into that because it offers a really good surprise. But I was just watching and I was checking off the boxes of what I just mentioned, and I really thought it was cool the way they went about it. And while I did love it, there are some areas that could have used a little bit touching up, and one of those is you're given a lot of information as the movie goes. So a lot of the blocks didn't quite fit to me at the moment until I sat down and thought about its overall. And I will say this too, since it's based off of a book, I feel like there is a lot more in the story that's not in the movie because the movie is only an hour and a half and there's not enough time to fit everything there. They give you glimpses and flashes of things that tell you that there is a bigger world to what's being built in the movie, because in a book it's fully fleshed out. You can put all the ideas out there. So they give them to you, but they don't give them to you enough to really soak in. There were parts where I was kind of like, what's going on here? Because things were moving very, very fast. And the domino blocks kind of landed for me, you know, as I was driving, thinking about the film, which it doesn't take away from the movie at all, for me personally, but had details been put into the movie more, I think it would have been even better. Especially with the characterization. Quinn, her father, and this other kid that she meets are given a lot of screen time, and their story is told a lot more than anybody else. Even though with the other characterization, they dress them in certain ways to let you know exactly what's going on with these kids and why the situations are happening with them. But I think had they given all of the characters a little bit more to do and say, it would have fleshed out the entire idea even more, making it that much stronger of a film. Because the characters are really cliche. They're only there to be annoying teens, which they do really, really well, but also not so much to where I want to turn the movie off. They actually act like teenagers, which I like. Nobody is overly smart and clever, and they make dumb decisions, but not stupid as hell decisions either. So I really enjoyed what they did and how they set them up to make the plot work. Like, everything serves the last act of the movie, and I just love that most. So all in all, I really enjoyed myself watching this movie. This is a day one Blu-ray, hopefully steelbook, hopefully box set cop, like a lot of other movies that they've released. And if you're a fan of horror films, watch it. I think that it's really good and brings back the nostalgic feel of the early 2000s. Absolutely love that. So if you've seen the movie, let me know in the comments what you thought. What was your favorite scene? Mine was really the reveal, and that's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. And the last thing I will say before I get out of here is I love that it takes place during fall. This is gonna be one that I watch annually for November because it captures that vibe and atmosphere perfectly for me. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe, and if you already are subscribed, thank you. Until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.